At the Shanghai Auto Show this year, after a few years without global attendees, Chinese car makers were finally able to show the world the cars that they're producing now and the cars they're going to bring to the rest of the world. My personal star of the show was this. It's the Zeekr X. Yes, this is the Zeekr X, an edgy, compact, kind of crossover. I mean, this car is actually very deceptive. From where you're looking, this car could just be a compact hatchback, but the reality is it's a lot larger than that. It's actually 8 centimeters taller than a Volkswagen Golf, about 2.5 centimeters shorter than a Nissan Qashqai, and 5 centimeters longer. So it's deceptively large. But the designer's done a great job of making it look more compact. And it is a very futuristic and very edgy design. It's based on the same platform as the Smart #1 and the upcoming Volvo EX30. And you can see that it looks very, very different to both of those. It's kind of blunt and sharp at the same time. We've got kind of a stub-nosed front end, got sharp creases down the bonnet here. We've also got Zeekr's new light treatment here, this kind of H-shaped DRL. Zeekr say that their design has diverged now from Lynk & Co, which they were kind of borrowed from before. The reality is these lights are actually the same as those on the Lynk & Co 08, the brand new ones. So it's hard to say that they actually really have diverged their design language. But as you can see, that edginess continues down the side. We've got a very steeply raked crease here up the back, which makes for quite an interesting C-pillar shape. We get also down here enormous wheel arches, big chunky wheel arches, which I think really conceal the height and the size of this design. We've also got massive wheels here at the front, 20-inch wheels pushed right out into the corner, so they also look quite good. And you get the option of 18 and 19-inch alloys there as well. We've got a black roof, so we do have two-tone colour scheme on this one, which is kind of a metallic pinky purple. Doesn't look that bad actually, I really quite like this. We also got quite a few interesting features down here. You'll notice no door handles. Instead, we get a button here and the doors open electrically. If you press that again, you can close it. You also get electric door release on the back as well, but you have to pull this one out by yourself. You can get normal door handles on this, and I believe the European versions will get normal door handles because you're actually not allowed to have that. But anyway, unlucky. You get frameless mirrors on the side, very Polestar-esque there. We also get a piece of interesting tech here on the side, on this option. It's a little screen on the side that shows you your battery charge before you get into the car. You've also got little cameras here so that you can get into the car with facial recognition. And one more thing before I get to the back of the car is, check out this charge port. This is the most enormous charge port you will ever see on any electric car. I'm pretty sure of that. That's quite amusing. But overall, a very dynamic and aggressive design. At the rear of the X, that edgy theme continues, and we've actually got a little bit of a booty on this car as well, a little bit of an Aventime-esque bum on it, not quite as dramatic as that, but this car is quite a bit longer than its brothers, the #1 and the Volvo EX30, so maybe that's where the extra length is coming in. But you'll see it's all kind of smushed towards the middle, got a large black panel at the bottom there, the window quite low down, which actually minimises this bodywork part in the middle. We do get the same kind of DRLs as well as the Lynk & Co 08, so again, bit of a cross on the design path there. Got a little spoiler along here. The boot lid, you'll see, actually cuts in all the way up here. There's actually a window in this panel to get more light into the cabin. But we do get an electric tailgate. Inside, not the largest amount of space. They actually don't give us any figures for this. I'm not surprised because it's quite a high boot floor. We do get a bit of extra deeper space down there and a little bit of shallow space. So instead of litres, I thought I'd show you a suitcase instead. Large suitcase. Put that in there. You'll see we get quite a bit of space here at the side, a little bit of space there at the back. So it is quite practical. You also get a parcel shelf, and on the 4-seater version that we have, you can fold the seats down 40, 20, 40. So quite practical in those terms. But yes, I think it's a very attractive design. By the way, we also get a reversing camera on there as well, but you knew that already. Now, if you like the exterior of the X, wait until you see the inside, because this car is not like any ordinary car. There is so much thought got into this car. There is real attention to detail, little perks, little features that just lift this car up from the rest of the crowd. It's really fascinating car. So instead of giving you a tick box exercise this time of 8155 Snapdragon processor and USB sockets, I'm going to show you the really interesting things you get in this car. Now in the video you're watching, you'll see two different colours. You'll see the green and blue colour scheme, very interesting, because we did have this car before, but it got rained off, so I wasn't able to film it. In our car, we've got the cream and the mauve or burgundy coloured interior. You can also get a white and blue, which is also quite attractive as well. But it looks very, very exquisite, and they complement that with a lot of really nice materials. We get, of course, leather on the steering wheel and on these chairs. We get leather soft touch surfaces all over the car, the armrests and things like that. We get a microfiber lining around the roof, so the dark part is up there, the light part down here looks really, really quite attractive, and it's complemented by little rose gold details like these little toggles on the steering wheel here, around the wireless charger, and down there. It just feels very premium and really kind of very classy, actually, certainly compared to the Smart number 1 that felt a bit cheap with the materials. Despite looking very funky, this car, I think, does feel a step up, a lot more premium than that one did. Speaking of the steering wheel, you'll see we do get quite a few interesting features here. We get these little square toggles, as usual, any normal buttons on there. We also get buttons on the back of the steering wheel, which you can press, and you can assign them different roles. One of those roles is you can actually talk through a loudspeaker outside, so you can tell people that they can cross the road. Or if you want to, you can put some voice masking on and just play some games with people and generally annoy them. I really, really like that. It's a very funky little feature. But at the bottom of the steering wheel here, you'll see we have some touch buttons. We have ones for the front and rear window demisting, locking the car, 360-degree camera, and also to open the boot. So again, really cool features that are just in there that you don't have to dive into the system to do. We do get a bunch of screens as usual, so 8.8 inch here. We get a 24.3 inch heads-up display unit, which is really good, and we get this 14.6 inch screen here, which does run on 8155. I'm not going to go into the details of that today, because instead I want to show you this. Slide 4 fingers across the screen, and on this version, which is the 4-seater version of this car, the screen glides across to the side, changes to the video channel, so that the passengers in this 4D cloud chair can enjoy themselves a nice movie experience. Really, really cool. I'm going to show you this seat from a different angle in a minute. Ambient lighting is also interesting in this car. We get this kind of lovely rib design, which looks a little bit like the lights on the former versions of Zeekrs. We also get some in the door here. These pricked little holes here actually light up to look like a skyline at night, which looks really very nice. In the middle here, rather than the center console that we did get on the Smart number 1, we've got a very different design. Again, this is unique to the 4-seat version of this car. You can get a 5-seat version as well, which misses out on some of these things. You get USBs down here with a little hook and a little pocket that you pull down here. But this is the interesting part, because we get, let's see here, we have a little storage space down there with a cup holder, and in here, if I grab my bottle of water, you can actually fold this cup holder forwards and turn it into 2 cup holders. Again, really interesting. But if I want to keep my drink cool, then I can do it in this fridge. This is a 5.7 litre fridge. Apparently it can hold 4 water bottles and 2 cans, and you can have the temperature from -15, so you can keep ice cream in there, up to +50, so you can keep your takeaway home on the way home as well. You'll also see we've got some buttons here. You can adjust the volume with up and down, or you can press this button and the armrest slides backwards to give the rear passengers better access to that center console and give you a little bit more space here in the middle. If I press that button, it comes back forwards. You can see in here we have our 50-watt wireless fast charger with a bit of ventilation as well, so you just slide your phone into there. We get a 7-speaker Yamaha sound system on the base version of this car. I believe that's called the Me version or the U version, I'm not sure. And on the higher end versions we get a 13-speaker Yamaha sound system. Very good sound system as well, quite punchy and bassy. Of course, up front here we also get a massive panoramic roof. You get the same one on the Smart number 1 and the Volvo EX30 as well. We don't get a glove box, that's the only downside. Other little fashionable details, of course, you get your electric door release button there. You get these quite stylish little window toggles down here for opening your windows. Up here, you get a sunglasses holder lined in microfiber with a nice little magnetic clasp on it. And on that side, the pull grab handle has got little rivets in it, and it's actually a proper microfiber handle. It's not like a plastic handle like a normal car, so it does feel, just the attention to detail is so much higher than in other cars. But let's switch over, because I want to show you this 4D cloud seat. Now this 4D cloud seat, which is only available on the 4-seater version of this car, is almost certainly the best seat in the house. It comes with 14-way adjustability. I get a toggle down the side of my seat here where I can change different things. So I can put a massage setting on, which is kind of more of a vibration style massage. I can make the lumbar support go up and down and backwards and forwards. You can also make the side bolsters blow up to be a bit more tighter, or you can push them out to make them more loose. I can also tilt the top shoulder rest a little bit further forward or a little bit further backwards, like on a BMW. I can also make my headrest go up and down, as you can see, like that. I can also move out my leg rest on the bottom here and extend it so I've got a little bit more support with my legs. But the best feature about this car is the actual zero gravity mode that you have. So keep an eye on that base cushion down here in the back seat, because I'm going to press a button on the side of my chair here, single button. What's going to happen to my chair is it's going to go into more of a kind of lofted cloud mode. You'll see that cushion there is tilting up in the back, and I am now going to go into this kind of sort of, I don't know, let's say a lovely sort of loft position. I feel lovely and cosseted by this chair, totally relaxed. If I want to watch a movie, I can do that. If I want to get a drink out of here, I can do that as well. It's brilliant, and I really, really like it. It's such a comfortable chair. I haven't seen it done this well on any other car. But this isn't the only cool feature of this car. There's more in the back, so let's go and check that out. The back seat is just as fashionable and as functional as the front seats. Really, really like it in here. I particularly like this sort of diagonal magazine pocket on the back of the chair there, which is really quite stylish, combined with this sort of diamond pattern on the back of the front chairs and these triangular speakers. It just feels uber fashionable. You've got this little metal rivet there for hanging your coat on. Little details, and they all just look really lovely. You've got B-pillar ventilation here, so you do get decent ventilation in the back. Of course, you've got your fridge, and you get your controls here to make it hot or cold. By the way, this you can also take out of the car. You can carry it out of the car, take it camping with you, and keep your drinks and things nice and cool or warm in there outside. Brilliant. We also get in here, in the four-seater version of this car, a pocket in the middle seat there underneath with some extra storage. We also, of course, get our armrest with this quite attractive twin door opening for our two cup holders, and in there you get a USB and a USB-C. There's a decent amount of space in here, so the footroom is okay, even with that chair low down. It's a little bit tight, but not that bad. Headroom's totally fine, knee room totally fine as well. You do get quite large door pockets in here. And if I step out of the car, as I mentioned, you do get a pet mode with this four-seater version. So you can press a button on the bottom of the chair there, and the base cushion lifts up, and you can do that on that side as well, so that your dog, for example, has the opportunity to lie down and walk around here in the middle of the car. Really, really very cool car, I have to say. I like it a lot. It's great. Out on the road, the X is about as comfortable and as luxurious as you would probably expect. It's certainly geared more towards the comfort side than it is the sporty side. The ride itself is actually very similar to the Smart #1, which I really, really liked last year. I thought that it handled all the bumps and the choppy surfaces really, really well. But in this car, I would say it's definitely more comfort oriented, because it's a little bit more squidgy, a little bit more softer. If you start to put it through some more spirited driving, you'll find it's a little bit top heavy, finds it just rolls a little bit more. Also over the bumps, it gets a little bit squidgy like this. But it's a very, very pleasant car to drive. That being said, it does come with some performance features. So actually, it's very powerful. It will get you from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in the dual motor version in just 3.7 seconds, which is blisteringly quick for a car of this size. It's got quite a lot of power. Again, same with the Smart #1 and the Volvo EX30. All of them come with a 200 kilowatt motor on the rear axle with 343 Newton meters of torque. So it's powerful and it's quick. If you add the front motor to this car to get the all-wheel drive version, 115 kilowatts, 200 Newton meters on the front axle, you get a very quick car indeed. And I do have to say that it handles it really well. Even if you absolutely punch it out of a junction, so you've got all the weight in the wrong places, it never feels like it's scrabbling for grip. It never feels questionable. It's great. It just handles the whole thing. It's really, really well put down onto the road, all of that power, which is great. In terms of battery choices, you get one. It's a 66 kilowatt hour battery, the same size as you'll get in the Smart #1. And on the single motor rear wheel drive version, that will get you a range of 560 kilometers on the CLTC cycle. So in reality, expect to take about 20 to 25% off that. If you get the dual motor version in the 5-seat, which is slightly lighter, that will get you 512 kilometers of range. And if you go to the 4-seater version like we have, that goes then to 500 kilometers of range, which is reasonable. That will get you around a city or your daily life for at least a week, if not 2, depending on how far you travel to work. On the charging front, very similar. We don't have any particular numbers on how fast it will charge, but about 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes seems about reasonable. That's what you're going to get with this car. So it's not super quick, even though this chassis is now capable of 800 volt architecture, at least on the larger Zeekr 001. In terms of prices, Zeekr like to keep things very, very simple. Got 2 versions, Me and You. Me is the base version with the single motor, so you don't get all of the fancy features that you get in here. That one costs 189,800 RMB, which is about £21,000, $26,000. Yes, those are Chinese prices. It will almost certainly cost quite a bit more in Europe, but it'll be there at the end of the year, so you'll be able to see what it'll cost over there very, very soon. In terms of the U version, you get 2 choices. You get the 4-seat or the 5-seat. Both versions cost 209,800 RMB. That's about £23,000 or $29,000. Again, that's the price in China, not in Europe. The difference is the 5-seater version comes with the dual motor, the 4-seater comes with the single motor. If you want to add the dual motor to the 4-seat version of this car, you'll add an extra 20,000 RMB. And of course, there are other features too. So I believe this fridge costs a bit of extra money, this 4D seat costs extra money, and you get a few other choices as well, like the tech pack and things like that we mentioned earlier. But overall, I think that's a pretty decent value car, especially here in China. And I don't really think there are any other cars that are similar to this out there in Europe. So I think it will do quite well. It's a very fashionable car. With the dimensions, I mentioned that this car is quite a bit different actually from its sibling. So it's a bit shorter than the Smart #1, a little bit taller than the Volvo EX30. It is quite a narrow, 1.836 meters wide. It's also 4.45 meters long and 1.572 meters tall. And despite being quite a bit longer than both the #1 and the EX30, it does still share the same 2.75 meter wheelbase. We do also get some autonomous features on this car as well, but it's only level 2, so it's not even level 2.5. You get automatic cruise control and things like that, and lane keeping assist. It will keep you in the middle of your lane. We do have a capacitive touch steering wheel, but it's not quite as sensitive as that on some other cars, so you have to put a bit more of your hand on the wheel. And also, it doesn't do the automatic lane overtakes either, so even if you indicate, you have to do the lane change manually by yourself. But it's a reasonable system and it works pretty well, even in heavy rain actually, which I did test yesterday. But overall, yeah, it's a great car. Really, really enjoy it. And if you like a comfortable ride, you know, there's not many cars out there of this size that will do it as well as this car does. So that's it for our review of the Zeekr X, a car that I would describe as fashionable, special and exquisite. This car sets itself apart from the competition with the thought that goes into it. The little features, the little details. Someone has really given attention to the way that people interact with the car and the way that they will use it with their families. All the little details inside the car are very lovely, but of course you've got the 4D cloud share, the sliding screen, the fridge that you can remove, the pet yard for your dog. This is a multifunctional car for the modern family, and it's electric and it's great value for money at the same time. I also think it looks pretty attractive too. Personally, this is at the very top of my car buying list at the moment. This may well be on my driveway at some point in the future. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you do, thank you for subscribing. We'll catch you next time.